Hi, everybody. It's Brother Peter on this Good Friday evening. I hope you've all attended some beautiful services today or just spent some time in reflection. I'm sitting here with this wonderful and sad Mexican crucifix, wooden carved crucifix that I've had for quite a while. I think I may have had it for more than 30 years. Just quietly reflecting on the day. It's been a very beautiful day. In fact, I attended services at Spiritus this afternoon, kind of a traditional veneration of the cross service. But this evening, the young people, the teenagers from church, did a very creative, actually quite beautiful reenactment of the Passion of Jesus. It was deeply moving. I was moved to tears at points, and I could see other people in the audience, feeling those deep feelings as well. So it's a day throughout Christendom where we focused on the sadness of Jesus' death on earth, Jesus' torture and death on earth, Jesus being the victim of domination, being the victim of empire, being the victim of occupation, and all of the violence and barbaric, hideous cruelty that goes along with those things. So I think back to that crucifixion of 2,000 years ago, but I also think about, I've been so totally focused on the situation in Gaza in the last year, and I've heard many horrific stories, many stories of beautiful compassion and heroism, but the story that really stands with me, above all else, is the story of Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya, the director of the hospital in northern Gaza, who worked tirelessly throughout the horrific slaughter, the decimation of northern Gaza, attending to, severely wounded people, civilians, children having their limbs amputated without anesthesia because there have not been proper medical supplies allowed to pass the border into Gaza. Just one of the many acts of cruelty that, like I said, domination, power, occupation, all of those things associated with the Israel who are the authors of the genocide of Gaza. However, within that milieu of horrific, barbaric, insane, irrational, human cruelty, the very darkest of humanity that has been shown in the last year by the state of Israel. Dr. Safiya moved into the hospital. I mean, he just lived there, and he worked around the clock. And he's a beautiful person, a saint. He had a beautiful son in his early 20s, Ibrahim. Ibrahim obviously couldn't go to college, so he was just working alongside his father in the hospital. And the Israelis had put the hospital under siege. They surrounded the hospital. So this went on, for quite a while. And finally, the IDF, the Israelis, pulled back. And Ibrahim went out in front of the hospital. He walked out the front door, and the Israelis had stationed snipers to assassinate Ibrahim, the young son of hospital director Safiya. So we all witnessed this heart-wrenching scene of Dr. Sophia coming out of the hospital in his white lab coat, in tears, reciting, chanting the Muslim prayers for the dead over his son, who they buried at the hospital, and then turning around and going back into the hospital and continuing to work. And I just think that is so heroism of biblical proportions. So there is extreme darkness, extreme ugliness, and horrific violence. But then there is goodness and heroism and saintliness beyond our understanding. So Dr. Sophia was taken prisoner by the Israelis, I think a month and a half ago, let's say, maybe 2 months ago. He's being held, he's being tortured for the crime of attending to the aid of suffering people, wounded people in this hospital. That's an act of defiance right now within the genocide, if you help the wounded. So, no one really knows when Dr. Sophia is being released, or if he'll even come out alive, because several doctors have been tortured to death within the Israeli prisons. So I think about all this, and it's relevant to Good Friday. It's a modern day Good Friday. It's human slaughter in service of empire. So I read today, I don't know if it's true or not, but I read today that Dr. Sophia was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. So I hope that was true. I think he's truly deserving, and it says a lot about what is worth remembering about this entire nightmare of the last year. I also want to thank all of you, because we were trying to raise $1,000 for Saif and his family, 7 people who've lost everything in Gaza, and we made our target. We were shooting to raise $1,000. We were able to do that. He has been able to purchase some things that his family needs desperately, especially some medicine, some food, and when you send $1,000 to Gaza, the recipient isn't getting $1,000. They're being charged a percentage off the top of what we're sending. So it sounds like a lot of money, but a bag of flour in parts of Gaza is going for $100, $200. There's no food in Gaza. Gaza's been under siege since March 2nd. There's been no food or medical supplies allowed into Gaza by the occupying forces, by the Israelis, with our blessing, with the blessing of the United States. So, I say all that, and I know that I'm sitting in a house that is probably on unceded Iroquois or Seneca territory. I'm also I'm also the beneficiary of genocidal slaughter. So none of us are innocent. So that's the way the world works. Within that, there is extreme heroism. There's extreme goodness. There's extreme beauty. As Dostoevsky said, Prince Mishkin said, beauty will save the world, and Jesus is the beauty that will save the world. In my opinion, I think it may be in some of your opinions too. So let's pray on this day that we reflect on things that are barbaric and hideous and horrible. And no, I don't think that Jesus died for your dirty sins because Adam and Eve ate an apple and a paradise that nobody has ever been able to locate on earth. I believe that Jesus died as a victim of this empire that some of the very few on earth, like myself and others, benefit from. A very few people on earth have everything, and the rest of everybody else have absolutely nothing. So things to think about on Good Friday. Again, I want to thank you for your generosity. Some of you have been helping me take care of people in Gaza for the last probably over a year, and I get donations in Venmo, and people send me checks, and I am deeply grateful for your participation in that. There's no way I could help these people on my own. I wouldn't have the means to do it, and you all have really lifted me up. So it's been a beautiful response. I mean, it's a continuing situation. I appreciate your commitment. And whether you sent $5 a month or $100 a month, it really doesn't matter. Just the fact that you're participating is a sign of deep hope and love to the recipients. And I know that they are deeply grateful for every penny that we send. So thank you all. God bless you. All the blessings of Good Friday. And we're almost to Easter. We'll see you tomorrow or on Easter with an Easter message. So God bless you. Everybody have a wonderful evening.